Yeah, well, I've replaced
any
lead.
device.
I live
Same shows, same times, always free. Stream now on SBS One.
I've still got a compact.
Can you get bought?
Oh, well, thank you.
Do you want to revisit one of your old issues?
No, fall asleep on that.
G'day. Yeah. Right. We can't see through these chairs, that's all.
Would you like to move forward?
No, it's all right. I just didn't, we've never seen this format before, that's all. You're all dressed up today, Paul.
Yeah. I spent the night last night out at Iona Station weeks ago there.
Right. You wondered why the service was open. You would have put me in the muddy in the bathroom, getting out of me wet clothes. Time got away from me. It's 4:05. Shit, I better go and get changed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about the same.
You can come and sit over there. Gabrielle, you sit over there if it's easy for you to hear.
I thought she was going to come. It's all right. Yeah, okay. If she doesn't come. I haven't noted anything in the apologies.
Give you a thanks. Shut the door.
I declare the meeting open at 5:02, and I'd like to welcome you all here today. And thanks for coming in on this annual event. Unfortunately, Jim's not able to turn up today. He's been held up coming back from Geraldton, so you'll have to bear with me while we go through today's agenda. I don't think there's anything else I need to say at this point, other than we'll get going into this meeting. I could read out this disclaimer. Please read the following disclaimer. Statements of decisions made for this meeting should not be relied or acted on by any applicant or other person until they have received written notification from the Shire of Mount Magnet. Notice of all approvals, including planning and building approvals, will be given to applicants in writing. The Shire of Mount Magnet expressly disclaims liability for any loss or damages suffered by a person who relies or acts on statements or decisions made at a council or committee meeting before receiving written notification from the Shire of Mount Magnet. The advice and information contained therein is given by and to council without liability or responsibility for its accuracy. Before placing any reliance on this advice or information, a written inquiry should be made to council, giving entire reasons for seeking the advice or information and how it is proposed to be used. I'd like this is the confirmation for minutes, the annual meeting, electors meeting held on the 31st of January 2024. Is there anyone that would like to move that, please? Kathy, and the second? Seconder, please. All those in favour? All those against? None. Thank you. So that's carried. Councillor Williams is second. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes. There's one other thing I'd just like to point out is that this meeting's been recorded. So, if everyone's aware of that. First of all, the apology to President Jim Gorman. Secondly, Holly Dan, Jason Homewood, and Cecilia Kelly. So there's 4 councillors that are not here today. There's no leave of absence. Staff.
Sorry, through the chair, I've just received a message that Councillor Dan is unable to come. Her son's sick, very sick. So I've just got the message now.
There's no business arising from the electors meeting, is there? From last meeting. Okay, all right. Now the next one is the annual report.
So, ratepayers, there's an annual report that's been printed and placed out on the tables. It's also available online, it has been available for the month now. The regulation 15 of the local government regulations specifies that matters to be discussed at the general meeting are firstly the contents of the annual report for the previous financial year and then any other general business. So the annual report outlines the financial results for the Shire, which were quite positive in the last year. What we did have was a clear audit from the auditors, first time ever that this council's received a clear audit, and it was done, one of the first ones that was completed in the state. So we're pretty pleased with that outcome. It demonstrates that the Auditor General is happy with the integrity of the accounts. So if there's any questions, I think because the annual report's been out for a month now, so if there are any questions, I'm happy to take questions in relation to the report and the financials.
Any questions?
No questions about the minutes of last year or their annual report?
Report, yeah.
Well, I'm only halfway through it, so no, at this point, no.
I'm available at any stage outside of the meeting if you have other questions as well. If there's anything that raises a concern for you, feel free to come and discuss it at any time.
You have a question?
I've got questions, but not about the annual report.
It'll be shortly.
There'll be a chance a little later on that one.
Do you want yeah, but later on. Yeah.
Just ask if anyone's prepared to move. Alex endorse the report.
Is anyone prepared to move and endorse the report, please? Jones? Is there a second? Thanks, Carl.
I read it this afternoon.
Okay. So all those in favour? Any against? Carried.
No questions on those. Nobody provided questions.
Okay, well, if there's no questions on notice, I guess we can move on to questions from the floor. I'd just like to point out that if we can all be rational in this regard, we're here to, we've been given an opportunity to take things into consideration regarding the Shire and the well-being of the town and the future of the town, and it's a lot easier if we're all in a frame of mind that's realistic and prepared to accept all sides of the story. So with that in mind, I'd like to ask anyone that would like to first of all have a question.
I was just wondering, since we won Tidy Towns, equally there's a lot of people that don't have a car, tow ball or a trailer and a yard front or back full of junk. Is there any way that maybe we could go once a year or more would be fantastic, but roadside collections again?
Supposed to be two, isn't there? Green waste and a normal one.
I'm happy to take that on notice. Yes, absolutely, we can arrange that.
And one more, especially this time of year, you know, we want our kids to be productive and active, but if, you know, most of them lock themselves away during the day with the aircon, but night time, is it possible we could have some night lights till 10 p.m. down at the skate park so it's safer? I mean, unless I take my daughter, when I take my daughter most nights, I have to take the big dog. But night lights would be fantastic and might encourage the kids.
So 10 p.m?
Well, I don't know what the laws are like, what the shut-off time would be, but I was thinking...
I can work around whatever would be a suitable time. So certainly at 10 p.m, if that's when people are still there, we could do a trial of it.
Yes, please.
And just see if there's any negative feedback, if people around the area don't want it. But we could do a trial.
And thirdly, what's happening with our folder, and could we have it consistent 3 days in a row, skip a day, to actually get on top of the mosquito issue, because it's costing me a fortune. Myself and my daughter are both allergic to mosquitoes. And it's absolutely, yeah, some of them are getting quite big. We do everything right at home, but again, I think I'm not the only one in town who's complaining about the mosquitoes, and it's actually getting bad, and it can be a health risk.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. The mosquitoes are very bad. There's a couple of issues around the fogger. The first one is we can't use it when there's wind.
Yeah.
We can't use it, so it works specifically just after the rain. It works best then when there's puddles in the ground. So there's certain times a year where the weather affects it and we can't use it. There have been problems also with it mechanically. So when it plays up mechanically, it's got to go to Queensland to be repaired. There's only one place in Australia that repairs it. So that is one of the other problems that we have. So we're doing our best to be as consistent as we can, remembering that there are people in community who have the opposite view to you do.
Yeah.
So it's a fine balance of meeting everybody's needs.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
But we will be endeavouring to do it more often, yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right, who's the lucky next?
Me.
Okay.
I feel disgusted you know, over the main
Excuse me,
road.
I'd just like to introduce you first, Gabrielle, because people here may not know who you are, so.
Would you like to stand up and say your name before you ask a question, please?
My name is Gabriel Little. I
Okay.
live on 62 Water Street in Manhattan.
Okay,
Thank you.
Gabrielle, thank you.
No, the main road is not anymore who it was. You know, before it was nice, there was roses there was color there, and now it look like shit house. Sorry, man. No English.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. No. And it's, as I come from the RTA home and I have to turn right, there's potholes and everywhere in that road, on that side.
Yeah, well, there's two issues there you raised. Firstly, the potholes, that's to do with main roads, and they're well aware of that. I don't know what they're going to be doing about that shortly or whenever. The centre of the road is what you're talking about, the trees and the plants and the lawns. Well, obviously that's been a very difficult situation for quite a considerable time, and it's been a pretty expensive one for the council, of course, but I do know that the people were there in the last couple of days trying to sort out the problem with the water. I think, from memory, the water that's being used is actually bore water, isn't it? It's not reticulated water, so it's not as if we're wasting all the water from the water tank hill. It's coming from a bore, which I know it's expensive to pump it out, etc., etc.
Yeah, no.
But in Mount Magnet, as you know yourself, unless your garden's covered, it doesn't matter how good a gardener you are, the plants just cannot stand direct sunlight in the heat of the summer in this town. And so it is a problem, and I think it's been constantly looked at. Fair in saying that.
So if I may, they've come to the point where they've repaired the reticulation today. There have been some issues with the pump that we've had to upgrade the pump near the bore. It didn't help that over Christmas there is one ratepayer who decided they were going to try and adjust all of the stations for us, and they caused a lot of problems. Unfortunately, it's cost us a fair bit of money to get that fixed. So we believe that they're all working today as the engineers were here, so hopefully it will continue.
Well, my second question is, the workers for the councils, from the council here, is driving around and do nothing. You know, there is work have to be done, keep not done. I put a form in for to clean my part behind my fence all around it. I've done a work order for it and it's still not done. I've done that last year and I'm still waiting.
So I did speak to the works manager yesterday. He's arranging his crew to go and do that tomorrow, in the next few days.
Okay.
Currently they're cleaning out the tank near the recreation centre because that's blocked up and we can't water the oval. So they're cleaning that out. That's a matter of priority first. We don't have a lot of staff on the works crew. It looks like a lot, but there are not many. When it looks like they're doing nothing, I do have to say that our crew work very hard. They work very, very hard. The few of them that there are work very hard.
And what is the reason that the logo is changed?
I'm sorry?
What is the reason that the logo is changed?
The Shire logo.
Oh, the logo.
Yeah.
There was a lot of reasons that the logo changed. It was, the colours were not suitable for a lot of the stuff that we use these days. The logos previously was very heavily red, black and yellow dominated, and when the logo was created originally, that was considered appropriate. These days, that's not considered appropriate unless you are an Aboriginal corporation, and the Shire is not an Aboriginal corporation. So that was one of the reasons that it was changed. And it's just a case of graphically things move on and they mature.
What guarantee he had a letter what he had to fill out? What is that all about? I'm not had that in my letterbox.
I'm sorry?
Could you repeat that, please, Gabrielle?
He had a big envelope, all right, what he had to fill in and send it not against Bill. I don't know what that is all about, or what. I not had that.
So that's a survey. There were two surveys, the Community Strategic Survey and the Economic Development Plan Survey. It's time for the Community Strategic Plan to be reviewed. That has to be reviewed at least every 5 years, with a complete new plan done every 10 years. That is the basis for the corporate business plan for the Shire, which focuses the direction of the matters that we put before council. So it is community's opportunity to say this is what they want this community to be like and what they would like their council to do for them.
Okay, what is the reason that I not had that envelope, that information for the fill in?
I'm sorry, Gabrielle, I can't understand.
What is the reason that I not received that, and what guarantee had that you received that and I not had it?
It must have been an oversight, and I apologise. I can get one to you tomorrow.
Okay. Too late now, that to be in.
It's not too late.
No.
She's gone.
It's time for another
That was all.
person. Thank you.
Okay. Martin, stand up.
Yeah, it's Martin Walsh, not quite a local in town. But just a question, if maybe it's a point of order, I don't know. Are we in business arising from the last annual general meeting, or are we into general business now?
We've moved forward into general business. We've moved into questions from the floor.
You in the question. Sorry, I missed that because of the acoustics. And can I move that chair? Is it up against the wall?
Sit in that chair if you like, Martin.
No, it's all right. I like the back row.
Back of the bus.
Back seat of the bus.
That's where all the naughty boys sit.
Where's that?
The back of the bus.
Now, are you going to say something?
Yeah, I would like to make a statement and
Right.
just ask the question about the future, and it does concern me. So, the parking in town now, that's a smaller issue than the big issue of heavy haulage trucks parking. I've just taken some photos. Now, I didn't sit out all day to do these, but I've got trucks parked outside of Jamie's, the hardware. That was 9 o'clock this morning. 2 trucks at 2:30 outside the Grand Hotel, parked in the main street. Going into IGA and bringing stuff. There's a double parked outside my car park at the commercial into IGA with the carton coming out. Now that happened at 2:15. The 2 trucks outside the Grand was 2:30, and at 9 o'clock this morning, and I just took them random photos. It concerns me that the truck parking at the back of the commercial is going to be changed, if I'm correct. These might be rumours, they might not. But I know there was a sign there, heavy vehicle parking, that's gone. So if you look down there now, there's a boat there, about a 40-foot twin-hull boat on a trailer. I mean, that's probably 30 tonne, sitting out the back there. I mean, where do they park? And where does he go if he wants something when he stops? So that's the parking issue I'm talking about. Let us keep... main roads have said that truck passes here every 15 minutes. That's 100 trucks a day go through here. And that's main road stats from a few years ago. 100 trucks a day go through on this main road.
In 2010, it was every 12 minutes.
Yeah, well, it was every 15, a few years ago, yes.
Yeah, okay,
Well,
well-
that's 100 trucks a day. Now, I reckon we should cater for them. This should be a truck-friendly town. It must be a truck-friendly town. 100 trucks a day driving the economy of WA, and it's all heavy stuff, carting millions and millions of dollars. The other issue I have is the design of the main street. Now, I had a C class, which is now no, it's not a MC, it's a RC, isn't it? Is it HC? HC. The old C. I used to drive grain down south in a semi-trailer with a C licence. Now, I know there were capabilities. All of a sudden, after the 70s came 2 trailers, then 3 trailers, then 4 trailers. So we've got quads now. That's designed for a semi-trailer. Now, mark my words, every corner is all chopped up because there's not enough room at the intersection, this one here, to travel into the parking, and the next one across, which is the main, virtually almost a crossroads from the coast to Kalgoorlie. Now, that's a shocking corner over there. So we really need to have a good look at it and what's all chopped up and why it's chopped up because of those heavy vehicles. And I asked the Shire when they're making their plans and that to make this a truck-friendly town because that's driving our whole economy in WA. I'd like to see those roads changed because, you know, they're just not suitable for the quads. You know, they're difficult and quite difficult to get around the back here as well.
Have you filled out an economic development survey, Martin? Have you filled out one of the economic development surveys?
I wrote a letter to the Shire and I have.
Yeah.
I've done 2 surveys. One was.
Good.
Yeah, the 2 surveys. I'm quite clear on what my viewpoint is. Yes.
Is there anything further, Martin, you want to bring up?
I think that's the most important part of it. It's already been mentioned about the main road. The median strip is not wide enough for a start. Either take a metre off it or bulldozer. I think in my survey I said get a D9. That'll sort the problem here. You know, it's not truck friendly at all. I mean, it's made for. We don't want a pretty little town. It's a mining town for crying out loud. A mining town. It should be built around what's running this place. The mine shuts down and the town shuts down. There's no question about that. There's 100 years in the mine. So we haven't got a real problem, any of us, because we'll be all gone. But if the mine says we've got 100 years, this town's going to be around for 100 years, but let's make it a bit more friendly. Okay, that's enough from me.
Thank you for that. You're going to have, Frank, you're going to have something to say, would you get up and
Yeah,
yourself,
I'll
please?
just introduce myself. My name's Frank Peter. I moved up here 7 months ago, so I'm part of the group now. I've just got a couple of issues I just wanted to put to the meeting. One, vehicles that are abandoned and left on the verges. From my experience back in Perth, I believe that the police should go around and put a sticker on it, and then they should be removed by the Shire, put in a compound, and whoever owns the vehicle, they have to pay to get it out of the compound. Or it goes to the thing. That's what I think. Because if you leave them on the verge, they go smashing windows. And they smash my windows as well. Because that just gives the kids incentive to damage other people's vehicles. They were throwing stones at my vehicles when I was parked at a friend's place. And, you know, so that's one of the issues. The other one, the laneways, which I have addressed this to the Shire, they really need to be tidied up. I've got to drive around bushes to get to my backyard. That isn't the main issue. The main issue is flooding. The laneways come into the middle of my property and I've got a foot of water when it rains. I'd hate to think when I get a real big rain, it's going to flood my house. It already got to the back door, last 2. Now, I believe that the Shire, or those laneways should be tapered out to the road drainage, not into our properties. So I've done some, because I used to do road works, I've done some measurements with the level, and my place is a foot lower, or nearly 15 inches lower than both sides of the verges, so it's just coming straight back into my place. and my place is in the middle, and it just comes in like a bloody river. Okay, but that needs to be addressed anyway. That's the verges. And yeah, we're trying to tidy up the town, you know, the main street, as I heard earlier on about the Shire putting rubbish out, taking it away, you know, because there's lots of places where the rubbish is just dumped at the front. And I'm trying, my little place is across from the museum, and the reason why I'm trying to do it really good is because of the museum. People come, they want to see a nice little place across the road and the houses along there, you know what I mean? So that's another issue. The potholes were the other one. I mean, I really think if the main roads doesn't come to address these potholes, I was going to do it myself, go and chuck some dirt in there, because it shakes the hell out of my house when those big trucks go past.
So legally, the Shire is not allowed to touch the main road?
No, I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. But that pothole outside the thing, it's that big.
So main roads are doing shoulder widening between Mount Magnet and I think Meekatharra in the next couple of weeks. So I imagine that they'll be addressing this at the same time.
That one has to be done urgent because those big 200 tonners will break those axles, because I'm a mechanic, so I know what happens to them. Well, they've addressed the retec. I used to be a landscape manager of a landscaper. The retec is, the sprinklers and that. I noticed, because I've been keeping an eye on it, when they mow the lawns, they hit them with the whippersnippers and that. And that they're one sprinkler off and that's it, no water. So really the management on that side, there should be someone that knows what they're doing, keep an eye on it. That's only my opinion.
So one of our staff members is currently doing a Cert 4 in reticulation.
Yeah.
So we are addressing that knowledge.
Yeah, need someone knowledgeable just to keep an eye on that, so that, you know, because I know that I mow lawns and that, and you do clip the top of the bloody sprinkler with whip snipping,
yeah.
And then if they don't fix it there and then, waste of time the water coming on.
Mm-hmm.
I was down the pub a few weeks ago and I could have went for a swim. Okay, so that's about, that's about all I need to address at this stage. Yeah, but the most important one for me is my laneways. Very important, because we're going to get some heavy rains coming, and I don't want to be swimming in my backyard.
So we have organised for the surveyors to be here. I think it's the 20th of January they're going to be here. They'll be doing the surveys of the laneway. We are not prepared to make an adjustment of a foot difference in the laneway without knowing exactly where the rest of it is, because by adjusting your area by a foot, we may well impact somebody else.
Which I have got an email from you regarding that. The only thing that I really would like the Shire to do, because there's a vacant block next door to me, is just to build it up and into that block for now. Because if it comes into my house, my insurance company, I'll ring them, they're not going to cover me, because I know. So someone's going to have to pay for it. Because I've already had it really close. Lucky I built it up 500 around my patio area to stop the water from coming into my property.
So I did offer some sandbags to prevent that.
I understand that. And I can't lift them anyway because I've got a crook shoulder.
Yep.
So who's going to do it?
I'll help you, free of charge, happily.
Thank you. We have sandbags down at the depot, Paul, that I've offered Mr. Boulier.
Okay, yeah, I know where you live. I'll be in contact with you the next few days. I'll help you out.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, so I'm just being reasonable, and hopefully we can all work together on this. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You've raised some good points there, and I think that most of them can be solved in the near future with a bit of luck, a bit of ingenuity. So I don't think there's anything major there that's going to cause too much grief. You ready to go again, Martin?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Just on the point of the laneway, it just jogged my memory. Since 1990, I've had a pest control licence. So I've done the work on that, and I could spray insecticides, pesticides, herbicides, and also vermin control. And I was licensed up to S7s, which is probably the most organophosphates, organochlorides. Very dangerous chemicals if you don't know how to use them, or you're not licensed to use them and you're not trained to use them. So I was in agricultural education for 21 years. So in 1990, I have my pest control licence. 2 years ago, the bureaucrats in the health department, because I didn't have a licensed pest control business, said you can't have a licence anymore. So 2 years ago. So that's 1990, that's nearly 32 years I had a licence, and then they decided you can't have one. Now I sprayed from the vacant block across next to the hardware to the church boundary on that laneway, both sides, for 10 years, and there wasn't a weed there. Around the back, that's at the back of the grant and the side of the grant, and around onto the vacant area onto the creek, I sprayed the outside from next door all the way up, and even some of Kent's there when I had the glyphosate going around the boundary. Now the weeds are up. I'm not licensed anymore, and that's all council land. The weeds are up to your knees on that boundary. So maybe the Shire might have to put it on the agenda to do that weed control that I'd done for 10 years, but no charge. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Is there any further, Councillor Williams?
Yes, I've been asked by a resident to ask about, I didn't hear the answer before, about the oval, why the oval's died in the last few weeks. People's comments to me are, is it going to be watered? Is there a reason that the water from the water tank up there is not being used on the oval over Christmas and New Year, because it looks like straw in lots of parts?
So it does, and the inside the tank is roughly that deep in mud and debris. I understand that if you've had a handbag or a credit card missing in the last decade, that's where it is. It's full of needles, nappies, bikes, scooters, and it has all gone up above the outlet pipe. So the works crew have been in the tank for the last 3 days, shoveling that rubbish out. It's putrid. It's absolutely vile smelling stuff. So they've got enough out that we can now fill the tank and get the oval going again. Later on we will be getting a sludge pump in to get it out. There was just nobody available to sludge pump it out.
Right, thank you.
How are they getting the stuff into it?
Throwing it over the top.
Okay. So it's not meshed or anything?
There's no roof on that big tank.
Oh, okay.
No, but couldn't you put like a well mesh? I did mention this in council a couple of years ago. Like the mesh that's about that big, so nobody can throw his stuff over there.
We do have a purchase order raised for MTF to build a roof for that tank, yes.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
We have got a purchase order raised for MTF to build a roof for that tank. It has been ongoing for some time as well.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Councillor Williams, I suspect that stuff was been in there for a long time, because it's pretty hard to throw stuff in there now that's got the fence around there. And so I think that's an issue that's...
Well, if we probably had a roof on the tank, we wouldn't need the fence.
No, well, that's
we could take the fence down, so then the tourists could take photographs of the paintings on the tank. That's what it was done for, as a tourist attraction. And I think there's a lot of people go up there in tourist season, and photographers, and there's nothing to photograph now because you've got a wall up. That wall could be probably used somewhere else, taken down and used somewhere else, and leave it as an art installation. That was the original idea.
Well, that may well happen in the future.
Good. I hope so. Thank you.
Up to me now, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, my name's Paul Noble. I was formerly the town supervisor when both Jamie Wright started and Tralee started. I wanted to debunk some myths. The first one is the main street here. The retic was done by Thinkwater, and the retic that was done by Thinkwater advised the Shire at the time when they came here not to use this retic. We had beautiful roses, we had nice green grass and a functioning retic. We don't now. Since the retic's been changed, all the roses have died. They've planted some flowers, the flowers have died. They've planted some natives, the natives have died. And my question is, are you going to put the retic back to how it was, or a functioning retic, or one where the experts advise that you should use before you plant more plants in there? Are you going to leave it like that, or are you going to just put more plants in and just keep flogging the same dead horse that we're flogging?
So the experts, as you say, have been here this week, and they're comfortable that the retic is working appropriately now.
Well, we'll see, because we plant more plants if they all die. Okay, the other one is going to the cemetery there. There's a pipe. The cemetery is all crispy dry and all dead. There's well-established trees that have all died around the cemetery. There's a pipe that's sticking out of the ground, which looks like the irrigation that goes to the cemetery. It's poking out the ground, severed about halfway between the creek and the cemetery. Is that the irrigation for the cemetery? It clearly hasn't been irrigated in a long time.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No, it's not.
So it works in at the cemetery?
Yes.
And well, who switches it on?
I have to say that I haven't noticed that, Paul, so I will go and have a look and I will let you know.
Okay.
I will take that on notice.
Yeah. And I'm obviously going to go and raise this footpaths and that over here again. The footpaths, I read the agenda, which is similar to on here. The back 5 or 6 pages was an advert for Tea Creek concrete and whatnot here. And I complained about these footpaths back in February of last year of having no expansion in there in Mount Magnet. We've got several footpaths in Mount Magnet that were built without expansion. From the bridge that goes across the creek, this side of the bridge has been one repaired by me last year or the year before when I was employee for the Shire of Mount Magnet. There's been 2 repairs without expansion. The concrete will lift up like this and eventually it'll go over the top. That's what's happened in all the repairs that I've done so far. The first repair I did on a footpath in Mount Magnet was finish the ends of the one that comes along Richardson Street? Yes, Richardson Street, up along here. The same thing happened with no expansion there, lifted up like that, went over the top, was a trip hazard. That was repaired by me. The other side of the bridge that goes to the Swagman, that same phenomenon that's happened with no expansion in concrete. You'll find 2 repairs done by me for exactly the same thing of concrete footpaths failing in Mount Magnet. There's curbs and whatnot in Mount Magnet, the same thing. They haven't put expansion in there, they're all been failing, pushing up the roads. You'll find them failing over here on Watson Street in the middle. That's a usual suspect. It's been failing there. Those ones were done a long time ago. The curbs that were done without expansion were done in my lifetime of being here on my street and other places around there. We can see exactly what happens with concrete in Mount Magnet when we don't put expansion in there. And I spoke up about this. I've had a registered business, the Paul Noble experience in Mount Magnet for more than 5 years. And since speaking up about these footpaths, I'm also a registered licensed ARO for the airport. I've had no work from the Shire whatsoever, no reason for no work from the Shire whatsoever. When I raised the footpaths last time, Jamie Wright in this room said that it's done to Australian standards. There's no footpath in Mount Magnet at all that's done to Australian standards. The last change to the Australian standard that I'm aware of was when I did Harvey Norman across from Malaga Markets, Harvey Norman in Malaga. We ordered what was called a graphite shot tactile. It was a very expensive product that comes from Urbanstone. They got sent back because the tactiles for the blind tactiles are round things, they've got dots on them so blind people can feel. The end of all concrete footpaths for an Australian standard has them 1200 wide, 600 deep and 300 millimetres in from the end. So that's how we've got no footpaths to the standard in Mount Magnet. So the claim that was made by the works manager was clearly dishonest or incompetent. Pathetic, in other words. I came in February of last year, explained clearly of how to resolve the problem so the footpath will function for the life of the footpath in the town. If we had done that, it would have cost less than 1% of the contract sum of building it, taken approximately 1 day, and I wouldn't be in here now whinging about it. Are we going to go and fix that footpath so it can be perform in the manner that it's designed for the life of it? There's already a trip hazard as you go into the entrance into the nursing post. It's raised about 40 millimetres, where it's black, it's rigid, it's not rounded, and it shouldn't be there at all. That's at the beginning of the footpath failing. Do we have to sit back and watch it lift like this, go over the top like all the others have in Mount Magnet that have been built without expansion? Or are you able to come and fix it and so it will perform in the manner it's designed?
So currently, at the minute, that footpath that you're talking about, has it lifted in the joints?
And that takes years for it to happen.
Okay, so just stay with me, Paul. So if that hasn't lifted and that's actually level at the moment, but all the other ones around town are lifted and trip hazards, why would we do something to that one and not the other ones?
The other ones have all been repaired. They've been repaired by me.
But you just said that they're all trip hazards in the rest of town.
No, you didn't listen very clearly. I said that they had failed before they got repaired by me. They've been repaired. You have a look at the repairs, you've got to find expansion on both sides of the repairs, which is the best that you could do at the time. That footpath that I'm talking about is Mount Magnet's newest one. And it's now encroaching into the road. It's obviously got less compaction as you go into the crossover into the nursing place. It's lifted, it's a clear trip hazard. If someone was to trip there, who pays the liability? Insurance doesn't pay for negligence, we all know that. It's not done to a standard. I've just read in the back of a thing similar to this, a 5 or 6 page glossy advert for T-Crete for... I find that offensive in so many ways. One, it took 4 months to build that footpath. It would take most people maybe 2 weeks to go and do it. It's the only footpath that's been built in Mount Magnet in the 16 years that I've been here that doesn't have expansion in there. I also read in there that there's an ISO 9001 accreditation. I went and had a look at that, what that 9001 accreditation is, and there's 7 principles, the 7 points there. If it's true and that contractor has this 9001 accreditation, we would have expansion in there. That 9001 accreditation, the idea of that is to stop this kind of thing there. It's a standard which, if adhered to, would have the product that you've just made perform for the lifetime of the product. That clearly won't.
Thanks, Paul. I'll take that all on notice.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Are there any further questions? Over there. Ken, you got anything to say?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I've got one other thing to say.
Okay, well, keep going.
Oh, I know, I haven't. I find it very stressful to come in here. I got Citizen of the Year for fixing our infrastructure back in 2013. I've done lots here in Mount Magnet, more than even I can probably think of. Within 50 metres of here, it's impossible to walk into this building without walking on my work. 50 metres of here, I've done a fence across the road. I've put the new barbecue in up here. All the huts, all the concrete, all the pavement, all of it. I stumped the demountable toilet block. I did the paving retaining on that for the toilet block. I've got all the limestone piers and that. I've got disabled access into all the businesses where it's possible in Mount Magnet in the time that I've been here. And I'm very, very disappointed of speaking up for the quality of workmanship to be denied work for speaking up. I think it's very unfair.
Well, I think you're making a big assumption that you were denied work for speaking up.
Is it just a coincidence?
I don't know where you were denied work at any stage. Where have you actually applied for work that you were denied?
I had a letter from you to renew my red asset card to go through, a valuable asset for the Shire of Mount Magnet. Since I've renewed it, I've used it maybe once. Not at all last year, not even one day. Not once for the improvements and whatnot. When Darren and whatnot was on holidays, who did you have as an ARO here in Mount Magnet?
So, Paul, they are employment-related matters that I'm not prepared to discuss in a public forum, but if you have a problem with that, you are more than welcome to come and talk to me at any time. I cannot discuss employee matters in a public forum.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Can I just ask a question? Is your question, did we have somebody actually on board, or are you...
Well, my main question was, when Darren and others aren't here, who are you using as an ARO, when you've got a licensed resident ARO?
We have 5 AROs who are registered currently.
And do they all have a red asset card?
Yes, they do.
Okay, good.
I'd like to vouch for Paul and his quality of his workmanship. It's bordering on craftsmanship, his work. He's put that new fence along the front of the Grand Hotel. He's done the brick paving up to a standard for handicapped people in the town, which is a Shire generated move, which was very, very good. He has done my back patio in Green Head, and that's what I think of this man's quality of work. It is just a bit of, well, it's not a bit above, it's well above a tradesman. She's fixed your fence, Kathy. You've done a fantastic job there on an old fence. The wood had rotted out and we put all new steel in it and that sort of thing. So everything he's touched has been to a standard above a tradesman. So just the quality of his work, I just like to vouch for him that he's a good tradesman, a good craftsman too.
Well, I'd like to elaborate on that because I think I was the first guy to go for the job when it came to Mount Magnet, so I know exactly how good he is, and I think a lot of people in town would condone and support the quality of his work.
No problem at all.
It's not a complaint or anything, it's just actually a question. We run tidy towns and, okay, we've got our main street, but all the little bits in all the other streets, you know, the medium sections, covered in weeds, prickles, is that the Shire grounds crew? Can we make them all look a little bit prettier? Please?
I would like to, but I'm really struggling with the main street as it is, and the thought of expanding that project any further at the moment makes me very anxious as well.
The main street,
Yeah, get the main street done first, obviously.
However, yes, they do need tidying up. We do that as much as we can. They've been out whippersnippering and tidying those up. Just to clarify, we didn't actually win Tidy Towns. We got a special mention.
Oh, okay. My bad.
We're going to win it this year, though.
Frank, would you like to add?
Yeah, sorry, I missed something. The other problem, because I've done roadworks now, since all the verges have been redone, whatever material it is, I don't know, it's like mud. What happens is when it rains here, and I try and get out onto the street, I'm spinning the wheels in mud. And if a truck or something's coming, it's really dangerous. I don't know what sort of a product they've put on those verges. You know, they've done a good job, and I've got a lot of respect for the Shire employees. They're very good. But I really think up where I am there, even when you come in, you put your brakes on, you end up going through the fence because it's mud. It's not a gravel. So I think that should be addressed and something put on top of it or whatever. They've done a good job levelling it and everything, but it is dangerous.
Yeah, unfortunately, Frank, that's been brought to my attention on 3 or 4 occasions. So it's all right when it's not raining, but I don't know. I think there's been requests to put some gravel slip on top of it. I don't know the CEO, not be aware of that.
There has been some requests. There has also been some requests not to, because the kids get hold of the gravel and throw it around. So
The small stuff. It just needs to bind because it's mud. If you come up there when it's raining, you just cannot drive out of there. You go to put your foot down and just spin the wheels. And when you come in, you put the brakes on. I only ended up into that lamppost. I didn't take, you know when you come home, you just turn in because you've got something up your bum and you put the brakes on and then it's just like a skateboard. So that was the only other thing. And
I'll take that on
if we can
it's on my notes. Thank you, Frank.
even if it just needs just something different, some other form of material. Okay, thank you.
I've got one more thing that I'd like to say, please. And it's in the defence of the work crew. Mount Magnet, because of the climate that we live in here, we don't have a heat clause. If you work in the city, it goes to 38.1, 40 degrees for round figures. It hits that, they close all construction, you go home, unless you're self-employed. If you're on a multiplex job or anything like that, they call it inclement weather, heat stress and whatnot. Mount Magnet's climate doesn't allow that. When I was a town supervisor for the Shire of Mount Magnet, I give absolute express full permission for the crew, if they've been working, to go into the air conditioning of their vehicle and to cool down. because it was with Calvin Matthews as the CEO at that time there, it was agreed that it wasn't a feasible idea for us to put a heat clause in because of the climate that we have here, nor is it a reasonable expectation for somebody to overheat or have someone have a heat-related problem as an employee of the Shire of Mount Magnet. So if you do see on occasion some people that are driving around, I believe that is in the best interest of the employee. I believe that is a sensible thing by the employer, and I encourage that to continue rather than have someone have a heat-related problem, which will cause an awful lot more problems than 1 or 5 people complaining that they've seen someone driving around in 45-degree heat. So as a ratepayer here, as a former employee, as their boss, I fully endorse it, and I encourage it to not overheat. So,
Well, try 60 degrees in the sun. My brother took a reading on his thermometer thing. 60 degrees in the sun.
It's that's the climate that we live in here. It's an unreasonable expectation for someone to be doing this in that climate for any period of time, and they're not having a clause or an avenue for them to cool down. We're human beings. We've only got a certain tolerance that we have to go in. So to be in the defence of the crew, I'm fully supportive of them doing what they do. And I agree, they've been doing a good job. So.
Are there any further questions? Carl, have you got anything to say?
No, I'm just an observer.
Okay. What about you, Michelle?
I don't have a question, I just have a statement, and I would just like to thank all the staff and the administration, because I think the town has improved immensely over the last couple of years, and I think there are some great community engagements going on, and I think the work the Shire has done with youth has been amazing. So I would just like to say thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, one thing I wouldn't mind saying, just on Charlie's behalf, since she's been here, I'm ratepayer, got 2 properties I pay rates on. She's kept the rates down by her management of this mining thing and everything else. And it's a credit to what's been going on. It's still, the Shire's audit system come up pretty well to say that the audit was the first time we have been audited pretty well. And credit to you. Thank you as a ratepayer.
Thank you.
My rates are down, I'm happy.
Yeah. I think I might have had a bit of help in that one.
Well, you're probably the reason they're up.
Yeah, because it's part of the growth rental values.
Too many houses.
Can I just ask a quick question? I was asked today down the swimming pool, have we gone solar? Because it was on Facebook, the solar panels that can be seen from the lookout. And I'm assuming that's Ramelius. And that's what I said. I told them, I put it on Facebook, I'm assuming that that's Ramelius. And people are starting to ask, why have we gone solar? So we might need to put a little notice out that it's not, that we don't own that. Because the next thing we'll be asked is, why haven't we got free power? By some people. Yeah.
Are there any further questions?
Just one thing, sorry. When someone was talking about the meeting strips around town, I do remember instead of some years ago, probably 15 years ago, we were talking and we did buy heaps of bulk everlasting seeds, mulla seeds, blah, 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 and handed them around town rather than spend $1 million trying to reticulate, which is unfeasible. There is a lot of places in Perth you can get all the natives. Maybe that might be a thought for the future, whatever. Handfuls of them, bags of them, just give them to people, make their own little garden in the medium strip, or the Shire just chuck them out when the weather's appropriate. Obviously not now.
I get to April each year. I get to April each year and I think, damn, I didn't get those median strips scarified so that we could put flowers out.
April, May.
I will try and remember to get it done before it's too late this year. Thank you.
Or otherwise get my cactuses down the side and just put them everywhere. There you go.
Absolutely. Right.
Good display on there.
They like the full moon.
They do like the full moon. Yeah, just a point of interest, that's all.
Thank you.
Excuse me, can I bring something up? Look, here across the road here, right, that sign that is painted and it says go. That is danger. Can that be done again? That it is done the
So that's a stop sign that's out the front here. I noticed that a few days ago.
Graffiti on it.
Yeah, graffiti on it. Instead of stop, they're going and put stop and they put go on that on there.
With their spray cans.
That's my road.
Yeah, I've got some.
We might find a new one down the depot. There could be a spare one.
My sign to Sandstone's been bent for 5 years, and I have contacted Main Roads and they've done nothing about it on a number of occasions. So we've got a bent sign been there for 5 years. Over width has hit it. It's quite obvious what's happening.
Another question I was asked is the concrete bollards, we'll call them bollards, that have been put down at the old BP site, they've been shifted. Has the Shire shifted them or BP shifted them?
They're back in place again. They are back in place again. They were moved to allow an extra wide, extra oversized load to turn the corner, to cut the corner, but they've now been put back in place.
Right, okay. That must have been today, was it?
When I drove to work this morning, they were back in place.
Thank you.
Looks like the Ukraine.
Hmm?
It looks like the Ukraine.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Bollard, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any further questions, anyone?
Thank you.
Yeah, just a suggestion. You know the bees on the bird on the centre strip. I know up here because I've learnt my lesson from water because nothing survives if you've got to cover it. The only other thing that the Shire could do is paint this artwork out of steel, right? And they paint it, and it looks almost real. It's just as cheap just to put those in
Haven't
there,
been moved on the square, there's
and it looks really good. I mean, I've just done my little place up there, put birds and things like that. A place like this, I think, would be a much better thing to do, something like that. That sort of just. Once it's in, it doesn't cost any more.
That's just thoughts.
You know, paint it, like you can get those green bushes made out of steel, scrap steel, and paint it, you know, they don't make it sharp because if you fall on it, you don't want to cut yourself. But they can paint it and that, and you wouldn't know the difference. But it'll look good. That's just a...
Thank you.
Yeah. There's one thing that I thought might have been brought up today, and that is the damage that the children and kids have done in this town over the last few months.
The what, sorry?
The damage.
Yeah.
The
Vandalism.
car windows, vandals, fences kicked in. I think Martin's had his kicked in a few times. Beg your pardon?
Mine's been kicked in too.
No one's mentioned that, but I think that's a fairly serious issue in this town. I was hoping there might have been a few suggestions as to how we can sort of control that in the future.
Ranger.
Yeah, well, I've been here 24 years, and the first couple of years I thought, gee, I hope this generation grows up quickly. Well, we've had 3 since then, and I've got progressively worse. So,
Absolutely.
and I just was hoping that we could be a bit more on the ball, because I know personally I've had a hell of a lot of damage done, and I know a lot of other people have as well. Perhaps we can consider being more proactive in reporting things. I don't know, but it is a serious problem.
I have 30 boarded up broken windows at the front of the grand. Now, where you see that flat painted surfaces, behind that there's over 30 broken windows because there was French doors there. And it just reminds me there's a pile of ammunition on the corner of the Sandstone Crossroad of bricks, and that's the sort of stuff they use when there's an altercation, some antisocial behaviour, and they get thrown out the pub. All they do is just attack the windows. But those bricks, I'll tell you, I'd like them moved actually. They're on the end of the road.
That's where the poles was knocked down.
The pole, yeah, there's a pile of bricks there, yeah.
Poles are going up in, I think, the next few days. They're replacing the poles in the next few days, so that'll all be sorted.
Yeah, that's going to be a restriction for them trucks that I was talking about earlier. I mean,
Are they going to move
there, that pole.
Are they going to move that electric pole back a little bit?
I'm not sure that's entirely Horizon.
Oh, okay, Horizon's power, is it? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, are there any further questions? Well, I declare the meeting closed at 6:05.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending.